Here's what's cooking on today's Sports Stove Local Hour. We're talking EKU football, recapping Saturday, looking ahead to next week. We're also talking EKU volleyball with some pretty special guests. So we'll do all that. That's what's cooking on today's Sports Stove Local Hour.
McKinney looks, steps into pocket, throws, open receiver, touchdown! Colonels, we're not done yet!
Our identity is we're going to press for 40 minutes, we're going to play up-tempo, we're going to play with unbelievable passion, and then our brand is the most exciting 40 minutes in sports.
Welcome into an all-new edition of the Sports Stove Local Hour, presented by All Around Roofing, your exterior go-to in Central Kentucky. If you've got needs on your roof with roofing replacements or repairs, windows, siding, gutters, whatever it may be, All Around Roofing can help you out. Go check them out, allaroundroofingky.com. I'm your host, Vince Stover, and I am joined by our brand new teammate on the show, the one and only Jonathan Duff. Hey, Duff, how you doing, man?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing awesome. I appreciate you stepping up. Rhino's got some schoolwork that he needed some more time for, and so he said, it's not going to be an every week thing for him anymore. So I reached out to Duff to see if he'd be willing to substitute for the rest of the football season. He said, yeah. So how about that? And so I appreciate you doing that, man. And I know we talked a couple of weeks ago as well, and you've got a podcasting background as well. So I know it's going to be a lot of fun for sure. Let's get into Western Kentucky and let's get this over with. So the game Saturday clearly did not go as planned. And I want to start off with the atmosphere, though. I did not get a chance to get down to Bowling Green, so I watched on television, and that's a whole nother story I might get into later. But what was the atmosphere like on the night at Western?
It was pretty special as far as like when we got off the bus. It was really awesome to have a lot of Colonel fans there, which being Eastern Western and what it is to have that kind of support on the road anywhere, but especially there was really nice. And so would have loved to have, gotten the win for the Colonel faithful that made the drive over and came out for it. But I think that was a cool part. Right behind our sideline on the side by the locker room, there was a bunch of maroon there. So pretty special there. And then as far as everything else goes, they had a pretty nice stadium, some students there in the end zone and behind our bench that were heckling pretty good, but couldn't even tell you what they said. I don't really listen to that, but could definitely hear them. That's for sure.
Yeah. And that's what I was curious about. And I would love to be able to like go and change some things and see what it would be like in the case of, we're not going to talk specifically about the uniform thing, but I would be curious if you could go back in time and change the uniform situation around, if it would have been as hostile or not. Because I know it's a rivalry, but Coach Wells talked about it in the press conference last week. He's like, man, none of the kids here have ever played Western. And it's not like it's an active rivalry in the sense that they're playing all the time and stuff like that. I'm just curious of what the atmosphere would have been like had it not been for some of that stuff. But nonetheless, we'll never know because we did have that stuff in there as well. You guys came out in the first half. It was the run game impressive all game long, not just in the first half. Impressive all game long, 185 rushing yards from the running backs, 100 from Josh and 85 from Braden. Cam came in, added another 13 as well. It just seems like that's the aspect of this team. Coach talked about needing an identity and the offense needing to find an identity. It seems like that's ultimately going to be it, though, that run game, and because it's pretty sharp right now.
Definitely, I think if you look at our first two games, that's the brightest part of it is the fact that we don't just have one running back that's having this great production. We have two, and you can do a lot with that. And so I think that's our big takeaway. And like you said, the first two games, we're fortunate we still have all of our goals in front of us. So finding that identity is really important. And we have a lot of seniors and older guys with experience, but we don't have a ton of guys returning that have experience at EKU. So it's still getting that chemistry, and we have a lot of new faces on both sides of the ball. So just gelling together, getting our identity, like you said, and just figuring out who we're going to be as an EKU football team going into conference play is super important.
Definitely. And we're going to talk a little bit more about that here in just a moment, because the fact is that even with losses at Mississippi State and Western, it doesn't really change much. I know you guys want to win. I know that was the goal going into it, but at the end of the day, you guys come in and play good in conference. We can forget about these two games as is. I want to talk a little bit about the quarterback situation. Of course, Matt's still the starter, he's going to get the majority of the snaps, but we knew coming into the season, or at least we assumed coming into the season, that we were going to see some Cam Hergott throughout the season, mainly in kind of that rushing package, running package, and things like that. Well, Cam not only got in a few packages, he got in a couple series in this game. And I want to go right to the second half, because we were talking off air a little bit about this. Second half, you guys come out, you get the ball, Cam's at quarterback, and my solo is like 11 minutes and 46 seconds, I think, drive all the way down to the other goal line. You guys basically, I think it was started at maybe the 8-yard line or something like that, went all the way down to the other goal line. And granted, at that point it was, I think, 17-0, and then didn't end up able to capitalize at the end of it. But what did that series do for just the sidelines and kind of the mindset, I guess, to start the second half with that kind of series?
Yeah, I think in theory, like when you go in the locker room at halftime, obviously it's 17-0, but it's college football. 3 possessions is not a big deal. And so to go out there and kind of ram it down their throats and just run the ball, pound the rock, and be able to sustain a almost 12-minute drive and get all the way down to the opposing goal line, you got to capitalize on it. But that's a game changer. It is, especially if we did capitalize off of it. And so to see that, I think it's confidence building, sustaining a long drive like that, and just, it's repetition, and it's getting down there, and it definitely motivates the sideline, because, if we cash in on that, it's 17-7, and that's a different ball game than 17-0, so would have loved to have cashed in on that. But I think that's like one of the positives and bright spots that you take moving forward, is the fact that we have that capability, and we showed some of our ability to gel together no matter who's in at quarterback. And so I think it was really impressive. I think setting the tone to start a half is so important. And so really happy to see that happen and see what we can do carrying that moving forward.
I try to make sure I ask this the right way, because I am determined to never get you or Ryan in trouble by anything that I ask, and make sure I ask questions you guys can actually answer.
I got you.
That drive happens. There were, if I remember correctly, there were 2 4th down conversions on that drive as well. It started at the 10-yard line. You guys get all the way down to the goal line, and 4th down calls, and coach calls for Pat to come out, which I know that means you get to come out too. So I know that's an exciting time. But was there, you've been around a long time now, and you've been here for the whole Wells era. At that point, what are you hoping for? Are you hoping for, hey, let's go out there and get these 3? Are you hoping, hey, let's go for it on 4th again and see if we go 3 for 3 here and get these 6 points on the board, and then you and Pat can run out and get the extra point? Do you have a hope or a feeling about those kind of situations?
I have a hope all the time that I'm snapping PATs and nothing else. No punts, no field goals. You know what I mean? But as far as that goes, like the decision to go for it or kick the field goal, we're down 17 points. And so, whether you cash in on the field goal or not decides whether people see it as a good decision or bad decision. And that's just how it is. If we go for it on 4th down and get stuffed, then it's a bad decision. If we go for it on 4th down and score, it's a good decision. So you're never going to please everybody, but it made sense at that time period. We've had times where we've gone for it on 4th down and gotten it. We've had times where we've gotten stuffed. And so it's better, when we're down 17, if I don't think sending the field goal unit out there is necessarily wrong, because, we get 3 points there. Now we're down 2 touchdowns, regardless whether we score there, we're down 2 scores. Yeah. So, it's just one of those tough decisions. And, depending on the success of the play is how everyone will react to it.
Yeah. What's the conversation? Do you have a conversation with Pat after misses? Obviously he makes more than he misses. But what's the mindset, or what's even like the rules or unwritten rules about how you talk after a miss like that?
Pat and I have played together a long time, and not every, like you said, he doesn't miss often, and also not every miss is on him. So there were some other things on that play that communication wise and getting set and formation wise that threw the operation off a little bit, and just racing the play clock and stuff like that we wish we could have gone back and changed, or maybe taken a delay there or something like that and backed him up, because I mean that's the most difficult angle to kick right there, is being in theory on the goal line, snapping to the 7-yard line from the side. But yeah, as far as just in game, if there's a miss or something like that, I think Pat's shown how good he is as a kicker, a former All-American and preseason All-American and all conference every year, up there for coming close to the scoring title at EKU. So he's shown his abilities, and I think he just through experience has that confidence, and I obviously have that confidence in him. And so I think it's just one of those things, misses happen, and so you just got to shake it off and play the next play mentality, and he does a great job doing that.
I like it. Let's talk defense a little bit. On the defensive side of the ball, yes, 31 points allowed. I really don't think the defense played that bad. Again, I thought Mississippi State, after the first 2 possessions, they played really well the rest of the game. And here there wasn't consistently issues that I'm going, oh my goodness, can we please fix this? It was just little things here and there. There was some big plays, but a lot of those were shorter passes than yards after the catch. They did a good job of stopping the long passes this week, and so now they're going to have to find that balance of how do we stop the long passes, and then also stop the after the receiver catches it and takes off running. But I thought the run defense was really good. Elijah Young, the starting running back, only 52 yards in this game, which I thought solid. Overall, I think there was 100-something yards for the team, but they were able to keep Elijah in check. And then Braden Sullivan, he got his first start as a Colonel. I just saw him around a lot. He looked really just like he was giving stability to the defense a little bit. Kind of reminded me of some of your transfer linebackers the past couple of years as well. What do you think Braden Sullivan brings? I know he brings talent, but what does he bring outside of just his talent to the team?
Braden Sullivan brings a lot to the team. He is pound for pound. I think there's no doubt he's pound for pound the strongest person on the team. If you see him in the weight room, it's something special. It's something I can never do. But as far as everything else goes, I mean, that's a guy who's a redshirt freshman that's willing to step up in a big moment. Obviously we had Maddox out for that game, and so we had some linebacker and Kylan's out for the year. So, people who may have been down the depth chart are now up the depth chart and different stuff like that. And I don't know where Braden Sullivan would have been prior to the season with everyone. I don't know. I mean, I know he would have been in the rotation, but he had a huge role last night, and he saved a lot of big plays by tackles, and he just seems like a surefire tackler, and he's only a redshirt freshman. So he brings something that can give a lot of hope to this team for the future, especially too. And like I said, just a strong guy. He's a great dude. He's someone that, he's been here since June or whatever. And he's just got the team, he's got the team has his back. He's a good dude. He fits right into the chemistry of the team. And so it's been great having him here.
I feel like of all the transfers that Wells has brought in, that inside linebacker position has been, and I don't know if it's Wells, I don't know if it's one of the other recruiters and all that, but I mean, they have done such a good job of finding these inside linebackers, and having inside linebackers that are homegrown also in the program is pretty awesome too. But obviously right now, this week with Kyle Kelly playing as well, guys that were brought in. And I noticed Braden a lot in this game, and I know I've heard a lot of people talk about his talent when he came in and stuff like that too. So I'm not going to focus too much more on some of the negative things. If you're curious, my opinions on the game, I did write an article, and it came out this morning, the pros and cons from EKU's week 2. It's on my Twitter page at Sports Stove. You guys can go check that out. We'll talk a little bit more, go into depth, at least on my opinions on some of the play calling and pass coverage issues and things like that as well. But and I want to say this, I did not put this in the article, and I should have. I love Coach Richmond. I believe in Coach Richmond, and I don't say anything that no one else saw, but I want to make sure it's clear that I'm not anti-Coach Richmond, and I got his back, and I'm hoping for just some positive changes in the days to come ahead as well. Let's talk a little bit about next week. You guys get your first conference game. Not only that, first home game of the season. What is the difference about being home versus going on these road games?
There's a lot of differences, honestly. I mean, you get to sleep in your own bed the night before a game. That's huge. You're in your routine that you have every single day. There's nothing different taking your mind to other places. You don't have to deal with any, we always say limit distractions anyways, but with travel, there are certain distractions that pop up or whatever may happen. So, you just kind of eliminate those when you're at home. And also, I mean, I may be speaking for the crowd when I say this, but in my opinion, the reason I came to EKU as a freshman and the reason I stay for 5 years is because of this community. This is a school that rallies behind the football team, good and bad. This is a school that has the Warm Cleat Club, which is something that's super unique to EKU, of former players, managers, trainers, all the people that go into the program. And just, we have a really unique home atmosphere and a great support system here. So getting to play in front of all those people is just like an extra motivator. Running down that hill with the adrenaline going, knowing that you got a bunch of people rooting you on, you're not in some environment where there's, like Mississippi State where it's hard to travel a bunch and you got a little corner, you got the whole place. And so it means a lot to us. And also just, we talk about this all the time, Roy Kidd Stadium, you have to take pride in it. Named after Coach Kidd. It's our home turf, it's our job to defend it. And so one of our goals every year is to go undefeated there. And so I think we take a lot of pride in being at home, and I'm beyond thrilled to be home this week.
And I bet it's a breath of fresh air after 2 tough road games, because it seems like, especially the last couple of years, Coach Wells has scheduled, or whoever does the schedule has scheduled, really tough non-conference opening games. And I remember, I want to say 3 years ago, I forget, you guys didn't make the playoffs, and part of that was strength of schedule. And so I know Roan and Wells did a good job of making sure that wasn't the problem again moving forward. And I look at some of these, I won't say names specifically, but some of your conference opponents, they've played some pretty easy games here to start off the season. You guys went the other direction. So not only are you coming off of 2 tough losses, 2 tough road losses, but now you get to come home and you get to start your conference schedule off against a team I don't think EKU has ever played before. I don't have the game notes. They won't have that until Tuesday, but West Georgia's new to the conference. So I don't know. Do you know anything about West Georgia?
I know that they're nothing to joke about. I know that they came out their first game of Division I football and beat Sanford, who has been a top 25 program for the most part for the past several years, and are not to be taken lightly. So I know they got a talented football team over there, and I know we'll know more as we watch film on them, but they're definitely nobody to take lightly.
Yeah, they got beat this week by Abilene Christian, who's also in the conference. So teams that you'll have to pay attention to. Probably a great game to watch for game film, having 2 conference teams playing this early in the season as well. And then I know there is it Keandre's brother, Kiare, is there at West Georgia as well. So that'd be fun to see him back in Richmond as well. Conference games versus non-conference games. You talked about at the beginning, we still have all of our goals in front of us. And I also know, the, what you're supposed to say, one game at a time and all that baloney, but conference games, you've got to, I don't know the right words for it. You're going to get up for every game, but there's got to be something special about conference games, right?
Yeah. I mean, like you said, there's something special about every game, but then now it's like, we're sitting here not where we want to be, 0-2 at the moment, but now we have a new life now that conference has started. And so now it's a week to week, 1 week is a battle for your life, so to speak. And that's your conference life, and the opportunity to go get that ring, go get that title, and get that automatic bid in the playoffs. So it's incredibly important every week from now on. There's no, I'm not saying we do this necessarily, but when you play other teams or non-conference or FBS games or whatever, now that you're in conference, there's no trying anything out. We're broken in, we're ready to go, and so we need to be firing on all cylinders from here on out.
West Georgia is the second leading defense currently in the conference behind Central Arkansas, but they have played, again, tougher opponents there. They've given up 67 overall points, but like I said, that's second only to Central Arkansas, has given up 47. After them, I think it's Southern Utah is the next team after them. So they're going to come in, they're going to play hard, they're going to play aggressive. They're clearly a talented team. And they're looking for their first conference win ever at this level. So you've been, like I said, you've been around long enough to be the team that was the new team in playing up, whatever it may be. Can you use that to your advantage of saying, okay, well, we know that what they want to do, we know kind of the energy behind them is this, so maybe we can take advantage because of that extra energy that they've got coming into. Well, it's not their first conference game, I guess. They played Abilene Christian. So I don't know. Any thoughts on that, though?
I think you just got to know. I don't know what their roster is made up of. I don't know if they have a lot of the guys who were D2, but, I think a lot of people have D1 dreams when they're coming out of high school. And so the idea now that they get to be D1 now, chip on their shoulder, go prove it, go earn it. So you got to just know that that game's going to be a battle. I mean, they're going to come out giving everything they have. They want to prove they belong, and they've shown that they're a good football team. So we just have to be ready for that. And just, like I said, just make sure we're sharp this week because, this counts.
Yeah. I don't know much about them. I don't know their story. They've played 2 quarterbacks so far this season. One has about double the attempts. Well, no, double the completions as the other. But they both have played a fair amount of snaps. Running the football, nothing to write home about at this point. So it seems like they're a pass-heavy team, at least in their 2 games to start the season as well. From there, and then outside of that, they've missed 3 extra points. So Duff, you hear that, you say, okay, their kicker needs to get better, or do you look at their snapper immediately and go, man, he's got to live up to me a little bit here?
No, I would have to cut the tape and see what's going on. With extra points, you never know who it could be. It could be the line, could be getting blown up. I don't know. So we'll definitely have to check out that tape and see what that looks like.
See what it is. It's weird though. It's 3 extra points missed, only 1 field goal missed out of that group. Defensively, they have 3 forced fumbles, 1 interception, and so like I said, they've got they got 4 sacks as well, and so 2 of their sacks have come from a defensive back. I don't know if that's a safety blitzing or what that is. Again, I don't know anything about this team other than what the stats say, and the stats, although they don't lie, they also don't tell the whole story. So not real sure about that. What is your game day schedule like when you're, you have like a typical pregame meal that you always eat, or what when you're at home, especially?
Yeah. As far as game day goes, we get to the facility pretty early. Honestly, I think because now, especially with the portal and everything, I got a lot of friends at other schools. So I love just hearing about how they run things over there. And I think we have one of the best pregame game day kind of things going on because we have kind of freedom to we get there early, but we have freedom to kind of do what we need to do. If we need to run back to the house and relax, whatever our ritual is, Coach Wells is very good about just like letting us do our thing in the sense, but at the same time, don't be late to anything. We got a warm up stretch in the morning, make sure we're up. We got breakfast at the facility in the morning. And then we do have a pregame meal, which is as a group. So go in there, no talking, and usually have some pretty good food. So they bring it in, there's all kinds of food. So I do kind of eat the same thing every week, but it's based on what they have.
Well, I know Parker told us last year, I think his pregame meal was steak every time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is that what you go with too?
Actually, I like to go with the pasta. They have some pasta there too. And sometimes they have some chicken wings. Those are pretty good. So I make sure to try to fill up a little bit because after that pregame meal, we're not eating for a while. Football games are pretty long. So
yeah. What was it? There was a game last year where quarterback was sneaking a hot dog, not at college, it was a professional game. He was sneaking a hot dog in on the sidelines. And I just assumed that you and Pat had a buffet out there on the sideline or something. And, whenever it was your time, you run out there and do it. But no, how early do you guys have to eat before kickoff?
Honestly, it's been a year or so, or however many months.
Been a
So I'm
while.
trying to think. I don't know. I think we eat about. Trying to think. We get down to the locker room 2 hours, so maybe like
Yeah.
3.5 hours before kick. Let it settle, and then we gotta because we go warm up about an hour and a half before kick. So
Yeah. Yeah, it's always fun to get out there early. I try to get to the home games early and go down on the field first and kind of watch some guys coming out before I take the 20-mile hike up to the press box. And and it's always I'm always intrigued just by that because I never had that opportunity. And so to watch guys come out and kind of see the mindset and the looseness. I'm always surprised with how loose everybody is. And was there a time in your career where you weren't loose, where you came out and you're like, oh, this is scary, or I guess, or were you always in the same mindset?
yeah, I kind of had a great situation there when I first came in to start. I sat a year behind Thomas Bowling, who had done it for a long time, and then once it was my time to start, we had another snapper on the team, Grant Glennon, who played 30 or 40 games over at Florida State. So it was really nice having guys who had done it before, to help me out. And so they kind of kept me under control at all times. And I'm kind of I love the pregame music. So once I get out there, I'm a little tight, and then I get out there and start throwing and snapping, and I start feeling good, getting a little dance on, and then you get back to locked in once it all starts rolling. But honestly, I think the best thing for me is the pregame music. When I get out there, I feel pretty good after that.
Speaking of Thomas, have you texted Thomas this weekend at all? They had a pretty big weekend over there in Nebraska.
Yeah, I talked to him last weekend. I didn't talk to him yet this weekend, but I saw someone post something on Facebook, a picture of Thomas on the sideline, which was pretty cool.
Yeah, they had a phenomenal week this week there. All right, let's talk more about the conference. We've got a couple of guests coming on. I don't think I've said who yet. We got Sarah Mitchell and Paige Wagers from EKU volleyball. They're going to be joining us here in just a few minutes. But UAC's schedule as it currently sits, only 2 teams have played in conference games so far, and that was Abilene versus West Georgia. Abilene got the win this week. They look pretty solid. Them and Tarleton both look really, really solid coming into the season so far, for sure. Tarleton's 2-1 on the year, and they have their 2 wins have been good wins, but they haven't really put up a ton of points, and they've kind of allowed more. Of course, they played Baylor in week 2, but McNeese almost took them down too, so that was kind of a close game there. But nonetheless, Tarleton's up there at the top 2-1. Central Arkansas, Southern Utah have both split their 2 games, so they're 1-1 currently. And then West Georgia is 1-1. North Alabama, they played week 0. They're 0-3 on the year. Utah Tech and Eastern 0-2 on the year. Coach talked about it, and I know this doesn't necessarily involve you, but involves your team. Only 7 points scored now in 2 weeks. I know the answer to this, but I'm going to ask it anyways. What's the team's mindset around Matt Morrissey and Cam Herget and this offense? What's the confidence level that they're going to get things going at some point?
Yeah, it's tough after 2 games like that, but people are going to, think what they want to think outside, but only thing that matters is what's in that locker room. And so we saw those 2 battle it out all of camp. We saw both of them pushing each other, and they both showed off a tremendous amount of talent. And what matters is wins and losses, which moving forward, like we said, is super critical. But they both do super important things for this team. And like Matt's a captain, he's a great leader, and he does throw a very great ball and provide a lot of good things. And then you got Cam, who's a guy who's been here a while. He has that camaraderie also, and he showed off his legs the other day. And so the one cool thing about Western is, we got to see both of them go. And so, Matt primarily against Mississippi State, and, he made some great throws, and, you still got to give time right now with these new receivers, new quarterback, everyone gelling, but then Cam comes in and shows us some great things. So it's pretty cool when you have a team that have 2 quarterbacks that can go do some pretty awesome things. Everyone has faith in them, and then it just makes it harder on defense to prepare for 2 different guys.
Yeah. I think it's going to help moving forward now that, I mean, I think every team that you're going to play has the idea, knows that Cam can run. But now that they've got some tape, they're going to go, oh no, I think they're going to put more time preparing now for two quarterbacks versus what they were doing before. And, and one thing that I said too during the game was, if the receivers can win some battles when Cam's in the game where he can get a pass or two on a drive, it's going to change everything, because then they're going to have to start respecting that too. And so we need those receivers to step up. We saw Jacob Dixon made some nice plays. Cal-wise, again, another good week too. So if those guys can make some plays, especially when Cam's on they need to make it when Matt's on the field too. But when Cam's on the field, I think it's going to open things up for you guys. And then last thing I got on this is Hunter Brown was back. He did not get a target in this game, but a guy with Hunter Brown's talent, having him back on the field, what does that mean for the offense?
Oh, it's huge. Hunter not only brings talent, he brings experience, which is important when you're out there. He's been through this before, he's an all-conference player. He's got a whole lot of talent. And so just easing him back into things, and then, hopefully here going full head of steam forward, just making sure he was recovered and safe before he came back was a key thing, because he's vital to this football team. His toughness up front, his athleticism in the pass game, but also just his toughness in the run game. I mean, he's super versatile, and he's going to be a weapon for us moving forward for sure.
Love it. All right. I think we're ready to talk to some guests, Duff. And so once again, today's program is presented by All Around Roofing. If you live in Central Kentucky and you have a house, you live in a house, you got a roof, windows, siding, gutters, whatever it may be, All Around Roofing can help you out with repairs or full replacements as well. Visit allaroundroofingky.com for more information. All right, we're going to talk some EKU volleyball now, and we got two guests to do it. First of all, we've got Sarah Mitchell. We'll bring her up, and we've got Paige Wagers as well. Paige, how you doing? Sarah, how you doing? Good to have you guys.
Good. Thank you for having us.
Yes, I'm doing great. Thanks for having us.
Awesome. So first of all, Sarah, I believe we've had you on the show once before last year, and your coach, as kind as she is, called me out for not coming to any games last year. So I'm going to do my best to make it out there this year as well. What's the environment like in the playing in the different arena this year versus playing over there in Alumni?
So obviously the arena is a lot smaller this year. And with that being said, our fans are even sitting literally on the court. So playing in a smaller gym like that, it's a little bit more intimate. We're able to pack it just a little bit more. And honestly, the energy is just through the roof. Like in games, it just feels like everyone is so involved, and it just feels like a big home court advantage to have that as well. It's a big environment. It's an environment I want to be in and what I want to play in.
Paige, what's your feelings on that environment?
Yeah, kind of the same. It's definitely a lot more intimate, but having such a, I guess, limited seating, it makes it feel a lot more packed in there. The energy is great, and I think we're able to put on a better show because everyone's so much closer to us.
Now, I enjoy volleyball, but I do admit I don't know much about it. And when I was in college, I worked in athletics, and I worked a lot of volleyball games back then. But that was many years ago as well. But let's get out a couple things here. First of all, Paige, you are currently averaging 2.18 blocks per set. Last year in the ASUN conference, the leader averaged 1.26 blocks per set. So right now you're almost a fully doubled that. What is the method behind the madness of blocking hits? I don't know what you call it. I feel so stupid.
No.
I apologize.
No, it's all right. I think my method, it's just simple, just see ball, get ball, Sarah and I both have a history of playing soccer and being goalies. And so we're used to, soccer balls, volleyballs, whatever flying in our face. So I think, not just going up there just to take space, but going up there and really seeing where that hitter's going, what they're showing, and getting your hands there and just being strong and pressed over. That's really what gets the job done.
Okay. Now I'm going to come back to this because I never considered soccer as being a sport that helps in development of volleyball or works hand in hand with volleyball. You always think typically volleyball players are taller, so they're going to play basketball or whatever it may be. So talk through that a little bit. That idea of, I guess it's hand-eye coordination, right? You talked about measuring up people and things like that. I'm intrigued. But now I'm not a soccer guy either, but still, I'm impressed by this. This is something new I'm learning today. That soccer is a good development tool. Are there a lot of volleyball players that played soccer?
I'm not sure, but I remember when I first picked up volleyball, that, blocking's always been my thing, right? And so I had a coach ask me, like, did you play soccer? Were you a goalie? And I'm like, yeah. And that's when it kind of clicked for me. It's the lateral movements, being fast on your feet, being able to be explosive side to side. And like I said, being aggressive with your hands and going and getting the ball. I mean, it's pretty, it translates really well.
Paige or Sarah, same idea for you?
Oh yeah, like she said, both goalkeepers, and I think I played goalkeeper just a little bit longer, but like say in defense too, like playing middle back for me, being an outside, just taking like a big step and reaching out really far for a ball. Just got to think about how big a goal is, and if you got to take a couple steps or even a big jump to touch the goalpost, think about the same thing playing middle back, getting those deep balls in the corners. So she's 100% right. The lateral movement completely translate. And to this day, I still do. I played soccer for 16 years. I still do lessons and teach younger girls like goalie and soccer. And sometimes I apply some of the things I learn in defense at practice, and I take it to the pitch.
Interesting. I would never put two and two together on that. Jonathan Duff's co-hosting with us for the rest of the football season. Duff, what do you got for Sarah and Paige?
Yeah, I got one for both of you. So first, Sarah, you've been here a pretty long time. I think about as long as me. I know you play beach, right? You play beach too.
Yes.
So can you talk to me just about like balancing playing fall volleyball indoor and then also beach, and just what it's like being in season all the time and how you balance your schedule and manage? And I'm assuming you have to miss stuff in the off season. So can you just talk to me through how you are able to manage doing both of those?
Yeah, so basically, whatever season I'm in at the time, that is my 100% priority. So in the fall, when I was still on the beach team, no, I don't have any more eligibility, so I will not be playing this spring. But when I'm in fall volleyball season, it's all volleyball. It's all indoor. And then once spring hits, it is all beach volleyball. I still, in the spring, will train indoor about once, twice a week, just to keep up touches and be with the team and such. But luckily, I did take a lot of online classes, so that did help too. But when I didn't, I would carry around a planner. I have a planner right here sitting on my desk, and just time managing. And if you can time manage, you can figure out how to do it all. But definitely a little bit challenging in the beginning, but over the my last few years of doing both, I figured out what schedule works for me and how I can train both and still sustain the entire season.
Yeah, that's impressive. I couldn't imagine being in season year round, but teach their own. I'm not a planning guy, but good work with that. Paige, I know I saw that you transferred, and I saw that you're from Kentucky too. So I was just kind of curious, when you hit the portal, was there something specific you were looking for in a program, and how did EKU match up with that? Was coming home super important? Just kind of what was your mentality when you hit the portal?
Yeah. So actually entering the portal, I knew I wanted I wanted two things specifically. One, I felt that as a female, it was really important for me to have an all-female coaching staff. I had that prior at my last university, and I think honestly, it works for some people, and other girls it doesn't. For me, it wasn't my speed. So I felt having a younger coaching staff, female coaching staff, that was really important to me because we can relate. We think the same way, compete the same way. So that's what I was looking for, one. And two, this might sound kind of contradicting, but I was looking at schools that didn't have a lot of girls leaving and going into the portal. If they had more than, 3 girls in the portal, it was really hard to pull me into that school because that was kind of like a red flag signal to me. Oh, and also at being a middle, offensively, not a lot of schools. Let's see, outsides normally like Sarah, they get said a lot, and when coaches are recruiting middles, they often will be like, "Oh, our offense is centered around our middles. We want to get the middles the ball as much as we can." But I would go and look at their stats from the year prior and see how many balls they actually did get to their middles. And so those were kind of like 2 or 3 things I was looking at for sure.
Yeah, that sounds smart.
Yeah. But coming home I was in Georgia prior. So I missed home, but it wasn't necessarily high on my priorities list per se. That wasn't like a deal breaker for me. But EKU just, I came on a visit, and Jonna actually had offered me when I was in high school again, the first time, and then she offered me again. I took her up the second time. I'm really glad I did because, this is where I belong for sure. But my stepmom played here. She graduated in 2014, and she was great while she was here. And I came, and I was like, you know what, like, I see what she saw at EKU, and so we kind of made a little family tradition. Now we're going to be a bunch of EKU volleyball players. So
that's awesome.
Now, with you were at Henry Clay, and Sarah, you were at Madison Southern. Did you guys play against each other in high school at all?
No, we didn't. We played at the same club, but Sarah's a year older than me, so we never played against each other, but we practiced together a lot. We were familiar with each other, whenever I came, but no, we never got the opportunity to play against each other in high school. I wish we did, but
yeah. Sarah, what's the, again, with you being here as long as you have been, seeing that progression, the program is really built. John has done a great job with the program and the culture, building the culture and everything around that. Where you are now and where the program is now versus when you came into the program, how do you feel the program has grown in that time?
So my first season on the team was Jonna's second year as head coach. And my class of girls were her first recruiting class that she put together like all herself. So I think like every single year, like I think my freshman year, I think we won 3 games. And looking back on how our team was freshman year to compare now, it is night and day different. We have like so many people who are just so in for each other. Not trying to say the old team was selfish at all, but you can just tell the culture has changed. And that has started with Jonna and our coaching staff. And yes, I know we've had some pieces of our coaching staff that have come in and out and through the mix, but I think that over the years, we've finally felt like we have this winning culture. We all have this winning mentality, and we show up every single day knowing if we just get 1% better, that we can just keep progressing to become this better team. And like I said, I look back on it 5 years ago and I'm like, how were we like this? So, and I think leadership has come a long way as well. I felt like my freshman year, we had little to no leadership. And now, for example, Josie, who's been a captain on our team for 3 years now, and in my class, she's now 5th year as well. She and with other captains through the past years have really put together this culture for our team. We set standards, we set goals, we look at them every single day in the locker room, and we just strive to be better every single day. And I think that from my freshman year to now has been a huge game changer. And like I said, Jonna has had a huge hand in that as well.
Paige, you being in 2 different programs, culture, we're not asking you to bash on Mercer, but you can if you want to, but what we're asking, just culture wise at EKU, and you talked about Jonna already a little bit and the team a little bit, and this is where you belong. How is it to be able to see 2 different cultures at 2 different universities and look at how positive it is right now?
Yeah. So I actually had this conversation with Jonna the other day, and Jonna does a great job at not just recruiting talent, but personalities as well. She has a mold that she wants each player to fill. And when she's recruiting, she does a fantastic job at finding girls that not only are going to be great volleyball players, but great teammates as well. And that is just the biggest difference maker. When you recruit good people, it makes everything click. And it makes it enjoyable to be around. Like, in high school, I was like, I want to go play for a team for this specific type of coach. Like, I don't care about the players. Like, I'm there to play for the coach. I quickly found out that you actually spend all of your time with your teammates. So you want to be around a group of people that are positive and supportive and just have good team culture and are just good people in general. And that's definitely what we have at EKU.
Paige or Sarah, excuse me. I'm going to start with you on this one. I'm going to ask a similar question to you, Paige. You're leading the team right now, 71 kills. Next behind you is AG. She's got 50. Do you have within the season, you have team goals clearly, but do you get into this individual competition in a good way, a healthy way, with teammates? Because I know I've talked with football players about this, especially Matthew Jackson back in the day, about leading in tackles and things like that. And it was important to him, those kinds of things. Do you get into friendly competitions with your teammates on stats and things like that throughout the season?
Well, I would like to put it in a way it's more at practice. We know, like, when we're competing in practice, like when we play 6-on-6, things will get intense. Like, we go and Paige is shaking her head. She knows. Sometimes, like, we'll block someone on the other side of the net, and then you're going to turn around and get blocked here in a minute when you try to go and swing for a ball. So I think at practice, it is really healthy competition. It gets so energetic. Like, it is so much fun to play. And also knowing, yes, we do take stats. We take stats in practice. We take stats for games. And, like, obviously the coaches look at that when it comes to a weekend and they want to put the best 6 people out on the court. But our team has figured out a way to make it like a good thing and not look at it like a bad thing. We know that there are other people that the coach can sub in behind you that can do the job as well. So I don't want to say we look at stats in like a negative way, but in a positive way to challenge each other. And just to know, say I had a bad practice and I look and I only hit 100%, like a 100 instead of maybe like a 250. And someone else I know hit a little bit better than me. I need to step my game up, because if they keep improving, my spot could be taken. But again, we don't look at it as more of a negative thing. It's more of a positive thing. And if anything, like you said, it does get to a friendly competition at practice and things like that as well.
All right. So Paige, basically same question, that competition between teammates.
Yeah. I think Sarah hit it on the head right there. I think coaches give us our goals for each skill: passing, serving, kill percentage, hitting percentage, whatever, blocking, things like that. Like, we have goals that we're expected to meet as a whole. It doesn't matter if, you're a starter or you've never seen, the court in your collegiate career. It's in practice, this is what we're doing, and like, this is our goal. So it's kind of individual competition in that way. You got to compete with yourself to meet those goals that are set for you. But also, it's fun. It is fun to go at it in practice, and I think at the end of the day, it makes us better. Having that healthy competition between each other just drives you to want to win, and it translates onto the court for sure.
Love it. Duff, anything else for Sarah and Paige?
I got one more. As far as, you guys are both off to great starts this season and the team's done really well. And like Vince had talked about earlier, it's been a steady incline each year. Last year, you guys had a phenomenal season, off to a hot start this year. From your perspective, you look at it, what makes this team special? Why this team? Why EKU this year?
So obviously, we have a lot of experience, and I think this is one of the first years that I can say, wow, like we have a lot of experience, because in years past, I've been like, oh, we're a young team. Like, we're still learning. We're still learning, like all those things. But I'm a 5th year. Josie's a 5th year. Cambry, this is her 5th year. This is Paige's 4th year, 2nd year with us. And we're returning 5 out of 6 starters. I mean, and a lot of teams can't say that. And so I think that is a really big advantage for us. And I think experience alone can take you really far, but I think our team has far more talent than, I'm going to say, a lot of other teams in the ASUN. So I want to leave this conference and have a ring on my finger. Let me just say that. So that is obviously a goal that our team has set for ourselves, but yeah, so experience and returning a lot of returners. So.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think experience will take us a long way, but also, we're in this very unique and exciting situation where, yes, we have 5 out of 6 returning starters, but also we have a class of 5 freshmen that are just hungry, and they came in. I remember telling John in preseason, they came into practice, and that was our first like team setting of actually competing with each other and being with the coaches. And I looked at her and I'm like, listen, these freshmen are legit. Like, these are really good freshmen. It's the best freshman class I've seen in all my years of college. So I'm really excited for that, because it's not just, okay, we've got these veterans and they're going to take off and they're going to handle whatever, and these freshmen just have to learn. I think we have a really cool mix of like, okay, these freshmen get to learn the culture from us, get to learn how we do things and our expectations, but also veterans get to learn a little bit of, we're getting pushback. We're getting really competitive in practice, and, we're getting pushed by these freshmen. So at the end of the day, that's just going to make us better overall. I'm just really excited for the season.
That's awesome.
So you guys are currently on a 3-game win streak. Great weekend this weekend against Radford, Moorhead, Moorhead, Radford, and Youngstown State. You guys play Friday and Saturday in Mount Pleasant, Michigan at the Chippewa Invitational, Central Michigan hosting, and then Green Bay will be there, and SEMO is there as well. No, SEMO from the football field also. So that'll be a good time. And then you guys are home. Let's see here. It looks like still a little ways away, September 26th, and it's ASUN play. You guys got Austin P on September the 26th, followed by Lipscomb on the 27th as well. So a fun time there. That's, of course, in the Olympic Sports Training Center there at the EKU campus as well. All right, a few little quick hitters, and then we'll let you guys go. Again, appreciate your time today. All right, who on the team is the best dancer?
Mackenzie,
yeah, Mac, yeah.
clearly there. Best singer?
Ooh.
Oh, I don't know. Who's
Paige if Chris Stapleton's playing?
If Chris Stapleton's on, I've been known to to sing full out on that. Yeah.
That's a good question. We need to figure out who that is.
We need to figure that out, yeah.
All right, so next practice you guys can work on that. Best current volleyball player on the coaching staff?
John,
we are going to share this with the coaching staff, so make sure you choose wisely.
Cassie, she plays with us basically every day in practice.
Yeah.
So, Cassie is still she's younger than the rest of them. She's closer to her active career, I guess. She's really good. She can do it all, but man, there's nothing like a set from Jonna. When Jonna's able to play with us,
then Macy's back there just absolutely eating some of us up. So I really don't know. I really don't have an answer.
We have a very talented coaching staff. I don't know.
Yeah.
What's the game the match you're most looking for? Is it called matches? I know I feel really stupid. Okay. What's the match you're most looking forward to this season?
Lipscomb.
Okay. All right.
I figured that was coming.
So tell us about the hatred for Lipscomb.
Oh gosh.
You can go ahead, Paige.
I don't know if it's not hatred, it's good competition. We just, we had a phenomenal season last year and they did too. And we just have a little bit of oh gosh, how do I say this without? I
don't want to call it good beef, but
it's
good beef.
It's good beef. It's good beef. We played them. It might be one-sided beef. They probably don't feel this way about us, but we played them at Lipscomb last year, and we went to 5 and lost that match, and that stung. That one hurt us. So we're holding on to that. We're remembering that. We're remembering the crowd they had and how they treated us and all that. So we're looking forward to it. We're looking forward to it.
All right. Very good. Well, I got to make sure then I'm there for that one on September the 27th, 6:00, September the 27th. Lipscomb is here in Richmond, and we need people to come out and show out for that one as well. And I'm telling that to people who probably already do. I got to get out there myself now. So coach doesn't get mad at me again this season. Sarah, Paige, we appreciate you guys. Thank you for coming on tonight. I know it's kind of late notice. Reached out to KB this morning or last night, I guess, technically. So I appreciate you taking some time, though, for us and finding time for us today. Good luck the rest of the way. And hopefully I will see you very soon there in Richmond at a match very soon as well. So thanks again, guys. Appreciate you.
Yeah, thanks so much.
Thank you.
Not a problem. Paige and Sarah, leaders on that EKU volleyball team. Impressive players as well. Duff, how many volleyball games did you get to last year?
Not a lot last year. The hard part about going to volleyball games and soccer games both are they're in season with us too. So
yep.
And they play a lot of weekends, which is pretty tough to get to. I know a couple guys snuck away last year. I think they played one on a home game, and a couple guys during the day. It might have been homecoming or something. They stopped by the volleyball game and then came back to the facility. I get too in my mode. I couldn't do that, but I definitely want to go out and see them because they had a phenomenal season last year, like we talked about. And so
Yeah.
I've heard really great things about what they're doing here in Richmond. So got to get out.
Coach Bazzani got on me last year. I said in an interview with one of her players, I'm going to come out there and support you girls. And I never did. And then I brought Coach on after the season to talk about the great season they had. And she had to throw that dig in there on me. So I got to make sure I show up at least for one game, if not more. I enjoy it. I enjoy watching volleyball. I think it's a phenomenal sport, a lot of fun. And especially when they're talented and really good, like the EKU team is. So that was a fun interview for sure with those girls. Appreciate them. And I appreciate KB helping us out, getting them set up as well. Always appreciate Kevin and his help for there. All right. So next up on the schedule for the EKU guys football team is the Saturday game at home against West Georgia. So we need people to show up for this one. Be out there, be loud, be early. I don't think it's supposed to rain, but if it does, stick around. Don't be leaving like a bunch of sissies. Stick around and cheer on the team all the way through as well. I'm looking forward to coming out and being a part of the game day experience again this week. You guys have 3 straight home games. That's pretty cool.
Oh yeah, it's an awesome stretch.
so that'll make it a little easier for these next 3. But then you guys got to travel to Utah, and you guys got to travel to Texas. You're going to Texas twice or just once this year?
I believe twice.
Yeah,
Abilene and Tarleton are at their place.
Yeah, so those are long trips there, but thankfully you guys got the airplane. How much better is the airplane than the bus? I'm thinking of Central Arkansas back in the day.
Yeah, I'm probably the wrong person to ask. Everyone loves flights a lot. I seem to always draw the middle seat of the flight. So I always say that I like bus rides better because I like laying down in my seat because I get 2 to myself, especially being an older guy. So, I kind of am impartial to bus rides. However, I would never want to bus to Utah or Texas. So flights are great.
Yeah. I just remember everybody talking about that Central Arkansas bus ride.
That was horrible. That was see, I don't love like 11-hour bus rides. I like 6 and below. I'm good.
Bowling Green wasn't too bad to bus there.
No.
Yeah. But home games for the next 3. We're excited about that. Jonathan's going to be with us over the next, throughout the football season. Going to be helping us out. Rhino will pop in occasionally throughout the season as well. Next week, we're hoping we'll have some football guests on. We'll talk about the football game at West Georgia and look ahead to, I believe it's Moorhead after that as well. And anyway, so we're going to get there and we're excited about it. Check out All Around Roofing. Make sure you go to allaroundroofingky.com if you live in Central Kentucky and have a roof, siding, gutters, windows, whatever they are. If you need them repaired or completely replaced, All Around Roofing can take care of that for you. Follow us on social media at Sports Stove. We're on Twitter and Instagram. We do a lot more on Twitter than we do Instagram, but you're still welcome to follow us at both places there as well. And we sure appreciate your support of the program also. Duff, any closing thoughts before we head out today?
Not really, other than just thanks for inviting me to come join you. I'm grateful for it. I always love talking about sports I love and also the people I love, EKU. So this is pretty awesome for me. I'm really grateful for it.
It's going to be a fun rest of the year, my friend. Rest of the year. All right, everyone. Thanks for tuning in tonight to the Sports Stove Local Hour. I'll be back Wednesday night with my dad. We'll be talking NFL, mostly some college football as well. So tune in Wednesday night, 8 p.m. right here on the Sports Stove YouTube channel. And then next Sunday, I'll be back. Let's see here. So we're going to have 2 shows next Sunday. We've got the Local Hour. We still got to figure out an exact time for that. And then I also have my fantasy baseball show. We're heading into the championship of fantasy baseball next week. And so we'll be talking about that with Kevin Wilson as well. So make sure you hang out, subscribe to the channel, and be a part of each of those shows. Thanks for tuning in tonight. Until next time, we'll see you around the Sports Stove.